hot seat this evening. I am Gladys Duvik, your host for the night, and here with me are interesting persons. Um, these are people I love so much. I admire the work they do out there. And the very day invitation was thrown out, not even officially, but they were like, "Yeah, I am willing, and I will show up." And here we are today. It's really a nice day for me. I already am enjoying the atmosphere. So you don't want to miss this. Tune in as I bring on your friends a wonderful guest. So you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, it's good to be here this evening.
Yeah, with our father.
Yeah, it's good to
Oh,
be here this evening.
Hey, brother.
Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and then
okay.
introduce
Yeah,
myself. So
yeah.
thank you very much to your team. And I would also like to say good evening to our cherished listeners. My name is Timo Richard Wonsibe. I am a teacher in Savilogu Senior High School. Specifically, I teach biology and I also double as the head of science department. And I'm glad to be here this evening for us to digest this very important topic you have chosen. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Dublin as head of science department.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but I'll come back to you. I want to know something about the name Win CB. Like, I
Okay.
like it so much. So
Okay.
please, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Kindly introduce yourself.
Yeah.
My name is Daniel Suk. I'm a teacher at Kalpoi Senior High School.
Okay.
I also teach biology,
Ooh,
and I am the patron for the science club.
ooh, I can feel the chemistry already. But actually, my senior brother is called Daniel.
Okay,
Yeah,
then you are my younger sister.
I would prefer that.
All right.
I want to be a daughter. I would be able to enjoy some priorities as
I
compared to being a sister.
maybe a daddy. I may reprimand you by
No
brother.
problem.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
so let's come back to the
Yeah.
name Wednesday.
So Wensibe simply means there is tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Mm,
So, mind the way you treat people, mind the way you
exactly.
talk to people, mind,
Exactly.
okay, mind
Yeah.
your footsteps and stuff
Yeah. There is tomorrow.
because
Yeah.
there is tomorrow.
Yes,
Thank you
please.
so much for the
You're
time.
welcome.
And today we are going to be looking at something sensitive: schools without teachers, teachers without motivation, the reality of rural education. So when we say school without teachers, what does that actually look like on the ground in the rural areas, in rural communities? There, let's continue.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gladys. If you talk about school without teachers, just as the name implies, it means that we have the infrastructure on the ground, but we lack those who facilitate the learning process in those schools in our rural communities. So basically, this is what I would say regarding schools without teachers.
Okay, does that
Yeah.
mean there are no enough teachers in the country or something? Schools
Oh,
without teachers.
yeah. For the country, I don't think we may lack the human resource as far as the teaching profession is concerned. Those schools in the rural areas may lack teachers as a result of multifaceted reasons
Yeah.
because these teachers, when they are posted to the rural areas, it is very important for them to have a place to lay their heads. That is, I'm talking about accommodation.
Accommodation.
They should have certain basic amenities that the body and the soul at least will be able to exist so that they are able to do their work as teachers in those rural communities. So it may not necessarily be that we are lacking the human resource, but certain conditions may be preventing some teachers from accepting postings to rural areas, and this can result to us lacking them in those schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, please, could that also be about money? Maybe they think going to a rural community,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to make much income aside my salary, the salary the person will get at the end of the month.
I don't think it's really so.
Okay.
In rural communities, actually, there are a lot of potentials to grow.
Mm.
Because when you go to a rural community and you are a hard worker, you can go into farming
Yeah.
in addition to teaching.
Yeah.
I am in Tamale here.
Yeah.
I have a 5-acre farm,
Mm.
just about 5 kilometers away from, no, less than 5 kilometers away from Tamale here.
Okay.
And I've never bought foods like
Since
maize
you came
since
here.
I came to
For how
Tamale.
long now?
I've been in Tamale since 2012, and I
Okay.
started my farming in 2014.
Yeah.
Since 2014 to date, I've not bought maize, I've not bought yam.
Okay, so come to think of it, living it's we say Jay Z, Jay Z is a Jay Z era. So assuming I'm a teacher, probably back at home, I don't even go to farm at all. I don't do those tasks. Then I am posted to a rural community. Would I be able to involve myself into farming just as you do? And for this number of years, you don't buy food, you
Mm,
eat from your farm
mm,
produce.
mm, mm. You see, let me bring this scenario. There was one man who was sent to a rural community, and when he got there, he was sent to sell sandals. When he got there, he saw that nobody was wearing sandals.
Yeah.
So he said, no, since nobody wears sandals, there's no market for sandals.
Okay.
Then another man was sent, and when he got there, said, wow, since there are no sandals here, there's a huge market for me to market sandals.
Okay.
So when he went with his sandals, he was able to sell and make a lot of profit. Aside farming, there are other recreative businesses at the village. You can even make smokes in town and take it to the village. Let me use our local setting, our district, Bunkurubu
Okay.
Nakwanduri district.
Yeah.
We cherish our culture. And when you have a funeral, the in-laws go in smokes. So if you sell quality smokes at affordable price, you will make a lot of money. So I don't want to agree that it is monetary issues that are preventing the people from going there. But maybe the innovativeness to make money may be the problem.
If
Could
I
it
may just
also
add.
be because of safety?
Yeah, before I answer this question, I would just like to add something to what my brother has said regarding the question you posed on the Gen Zs and what have you.
Yes.
You know, one of the things you should do as a young teacher in a community in order to get their cooperation is to identify yourself with the community members. If even farming is not your profession and you get to the community and you realize the community members are highly engaged in the farming processes, you can identify yourself by joining them to do the farming as well. Because if you get to the community and you want to feel like you are a youth, you don't want to identify yourself with the people, it will be one of the reasons you will not enjoy your stay in that community. And I want to just cite a practical example for you. When I was doing my third trimester field practical program at Tukrano in the Volta region, we had some family friends there and we decided we're going to help them on their farms. One of them was a brother historically that where we have gotten to an indication that farming was no longer for us. So he made us to join him on his farm. We did everything possible. He never agreed for us to go and assist him on his farm. But one of them agreed, and in fact, when we got to the farm, the work we did that day, it amazed him. He was shocked to see us do such kind of work, and we made it clear to him that not just start the education alone, it was coupled with these farmers growing up. So the advice I will give to the younger ones who are posted to our rural areas, just as my brother mentioned, is to try and find productive area everybody should be craving to do. So we shouldn't run away from it, but we should try and then identify ourselves with the people by also doing so. Yeah.
Um,
So you were talking about whether safety could also be one of the reasons the rural areas lack teachers. I would say it is yes,
okay.
because for you to do anything in the community you have been posted to, have to be alive. Without life, what can you do? Nothing. And even if you have life and your safety is not going to be an effective teacher, because the teaching processes involves a lot of preparations, and you need peace of mind. You need a conducive environment, prepare yourself adequately for teaching. So if you are posted community that every blessed day it is all about gunshots, will you have that peace of mind to sit and think of preparing to go and teach somebody? You wouldn't even sit. The best you can do is to what? To run for your life. So if safety is not guaranteed in our rural communities, we can be rest assured that teachers and other workers will refuse postings to those areas. So it's a factor. Yeah.
Okay. So aside the safety, there may be accommodation, but is there really something deep into it that we don't know, that rural communities lack teachers in the area? Is there some, aside what we just discussed, is there something deep?
Yeah, I think the other thing I can add is that if you look at those who are living in the rural areas, we have already mentioned some of the reasons that might account
Yes.
for them refusing to accept postings there.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, there are certain motivational factors those who accept postings in the rural areas should have been enjoying. Unfortunately, you will be shocked to know that those who are living in the urban centers even enjoy some of these packages, and those in the rural areas do not get them. And as human as we are, we can easily compare what is happening in our environment to other environments as well. So if I should accept posting to a rural community where I may not get electricity, I may not get potable drinking water, I will not get an appropriate place to lay my head, and I have a colleague in an urban center with all these privileges available to that individual, yet I have nothing coming my way as a form of motivation to show that once I have accepted to be in the rural area, this is what I have for you as an appreciation. What do you think that individual is likely to do? They will be craving to also desert the rural areas and go to the urban centers. Are you okay? So if those in the rural areas do not get the needed form of motivation, you can be rest assured that they will run away to the urban centers.
In that case,
Yeah.
how much responsibility, um, I don't know, but should we or can we give to teachers for the poor learning outcome in the rural communities? At a point, I just feel a bit of irresponsibility on their aspect, and that's why there's so much um, um, there's poor learning outcome
Yeah.
in
Let,
the rural
let me
areas.
come
So
in
how
here.
much responsibility should we give to teachers, the government, and then policymakers?
Okay.
On the part of the teacher,
Mm.
some teachers posted to the rural communities because, just as my brother rightly said, because he is not enjoying some of these amenities, they turn up relaxing in their output.
And they get paid at the end of the month.
Yes, they get relaxed. And just
And
as you
that
said,
goes
there's
a long way to affect,
the children's performance.
yes.
That one is a fact. But one thing I want us to know is this: every human being needs to be motivated in one way or the
Or the
other.
other. Okay.
It could be intrinsic or extrinsic.
Exactly.
So if I know that maybe I'm even better than somebody who is in a city, but because of where I found myself, I maybe we happen to meet, and where he is, I can't even get quarter of what he has. For instance, let me take myself for example. I was posted to a community under Saboba district when I completed training college for 2.5 years. When I returned to Tamale and saw my colleagues who completed the same college with me, they had started university 2 years before me. Was the reason they were closer to UDS.
Yeah.
As teaching, they were schooling. I could not do that. So if I feel that maybe government should have at least added something to my salary which could cater for my TNT, so that whilst I'm in the village, I could also transport myself to the city to also learn. Or they could bring satellite campuses closer to where I am.
So who should we blame?
Both should be blamed.
Both teachers
I gave the
and the
part.
government.
Yes, government has their part to be blamed. Teachers also have their
Their part
part.
to be blamed.
To be
Policymakers.
sincere with you, if I don't work for something and I am enjoying it, the guilt will haunt me.
Yeah.
So I often feel that I should work for what I am earning.
Okay, sir.
So in that aspect, the teacher who is enjoying the salary without teaching, I know some teachers who will go to the rural community. Maybe he will go on Monday, Tuesday, by Wednesday he's back to city, enjoying the city life. For the whole week, he might attend school, or he might have taught the students only 2 days, and the rest of the days he's in the city enjoying. By the end of the month,
So
he's collecting the salary.
from that the scenario you are giving right now,
Mm.
who takes the highest blame? Is it the government or the teachers that are posted into the rural communities?
Okay. If I may come.
There's a
Who takes
system.
the
There's
highest
there's a system
responsibility
fail.
of
There's a
the
system failure
or-
here.
Okay.
The monitoring agent. How are they monitoring the teachers? We call them CISOs. The CISOs, what report are they giving about the teachers? Some CISOs, because the school is in a rural community, they may not go there for the whole month. If I also know that there's no one to monitor me to do my work, I can decide to do whatever I want. And that is a factor that can affect the performance of the students. On the part of the government, there are certain TLMs, that is teacher and learning materials,
Yeah.
which need to be provided. But in the rural communities, you will go and you will not be able to find such things that will help the teacher to deliver his lesson
And there are
well.
communities you go to say the teaching and learning materials are there, but teachers are not there.
As for that one, I think my brother rightly told us that there are other, for example, if the, let me use our place for example. There was one guy, I don't want to disclose his identity because he's
I get
late.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was there teaching, dedicated, and when there was conflict, he was killed. He's not a native. So if I could go and there's a conflict, you cannot, bullet doesn't know a native and non-native.
Yes.
So the bullet shot and killed him.
For that matter, rural
If I should hear that,
they cry.
no, if I should hear that you've gone there and you are dead, I won't go because I will leave before I can teach.
But sir, that is possible not.
Before I get there, I would like to throw more light on who takes the
Yeah.
larger responsibility
For
in
the
terms of poor learning outcomes. In fact, it is very, very, very difficult for you to apportion the blame on a particular stakeholder if you don't do due diligence into what each party is expected to play to make sure that we get better learning outcomes. I want to just cite this scenario my pastor has always been saying in the church about scripture that talks about a man marrying one wife. He says he is very certain that this is actually God's message to his people because as men as we are who are interested in having many wives to ourselves, no man would have proposed that rule. And he went ahead and said, if women were given the opportunity, they wouldn't have made that biblical law that they should be submissive to their husbands because women love to take control. And there is no way kids would have made that rule that children should obey their parents because they love to disobey. So if you look at the situation on the ground, parents would always want to blame teachers for academic outcomes. Teachers would also love to blame parents. So you see that this blame game circulates among the key stakeholders who are, to ensure that education is what it is. But to me, you cannot just apportion this blame to one party. All the key stakeholders that are involved in education, ranging from teachers, parents, government, individuals, and organizations that are into education. If one party fails to play their role as expected, you should be rest assured, including learners themselves. They are key stakeholders in education. No matter how a teacher does his best, if the learners fail to play their part, you will not of the day get the expected academic outcomes or learning outcomes. Let the students play their part and let the teachers renege on their responsibilities. You are going to get the same results. Let government do what he is expected to do and parents should go and sleep. It is going to be the same problem. So with this, if you say it is teachers, I will not say it is. If you say parents, I will not say they are those. If you say government, I will say all of them are responsible. If we have poor academic outcomes, they are all stakeholders that can be responsible for such outcomes. Take the role of the teacher. The teacher is a facilitator. He is expected to prepare the learners for internal and external assessments. And there are a lot of things the teacher is expected to do. For instance, the teacher is expected to give the learners the right content, because if you provide wrong content for your learners, you don't expect them to produce any good results at the end of the day. Now, how will you get the right content for your learners as a teacher? You have to be a continuous learner. Some of us have maintained the status quo for far too long, such that we keep repeating the same things we've been teaching our learners for several years. We are not looking at current dynamics and trends to adjust our pedagogical, strategies, the content we give the learner. So all this, if you fail to do it as a teacher, you don't expect any better learning outcome. On the part of the learners, absenteeism is a factor. This one is equally a factor as far as the teachers are concerned. Because if you don't go to school as a teacher, who is supposed to lead the facilitation processes in your classroom? If learners don't turn up for school, if you have the best content for them and somebody decides not to be in class, the person cannot get better results by magic. You need to be in class. You need to discipline yourself as a learner. So there are several things each of these stakeholders are expected to what? To do, so that at the end of the day we are able to get better learning outcomes. On the part of government, we need a lot of teaching and learning resources. So if government reneges in its responsibility to provide the teaching and learning resources, even though teachers will do their best and use their innovative and creative skills to ensure that teaching and learning is still going on, but they may be lacking certain essential resources that would have made us to get better outcomes if they were available.
Okay.
On the part of parents, be frank with yourself. From the time you went to senior high school till you exited, how many parents did you see voluntarily coming to the school to just check on the welfare of their wards and the teachers who are handling their wards in the school? The school and the community are supposed to operate mutually, so that at the end of the day we are able to give the best to our wards. So if parents do not also monitor their wards whenever they return from school, they care less about what their wards are doing. You sleep at night, your ward is not at home, you care less about where your ward is. That ward cannot come on the D-Day and perform magic to get better learning outcomes. So a lot of factors go into play.
Listen to it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Let's come back to this. There are should I say institutions? Or no, there are schools with so many teachers.
Yeah.
The teachers are there.
Yeah.
No learning materials. There are schools with the learning materials and no teachers. Who are we blaming for that particular thing?
Yeah. This, just as I said,
Yes.
as for the school with teachers and learning resources, I can assure you it is still not a guarantee that you will get better learning outcomes, because a lot goes into the teaching and learning processes. You can be the school or a school well stocked with the learning resources you need, but if the people who are supposed to harness these learning resources to ensure that the learners get the best out of it fail to play their role, I can assure you, you will still not produce results. I just told you, it goes beyond the availability
So
of the
why would
materials.
government provide learning materials to a school where there are no teachers, and where the teachers are there are no learning materials? I'm so confused about this thing, and I really want to know why.
As for government's responsibility, it is one of them to provide the learning resources.
Yes.
And when the government is providing the learning resources, irrespective of whether the school has teachers or not, the learning resources will have to go. Because the learning resources are not actually supposed to be used by the teachers alone. Even in the absence of the teachers, the learners themselves, if they have access to them, they can use them for the learning processes to continue. So government will not say, I am not sending learning resources to this school just because there are no teachers. The government will definitely send them. Are you okay? And then to add to that, if you look at these two scenarios, as for the school without the teachers, it is
Is government even
problematic.
aware of that?
It
That
is
there
it
are
is
schools
it
without
is
teachers.
it is problematic. I'll come to that. It is
Okay.
problematic in the sense that I mentioned earlier that the teachers are facilitators in the school.
In the schools.
They have several roles they are expected to play in the teaching and learning process. So if the resources are there and they are not available, it means that they are just going to become dormant resources unless the learners are able to also make good use of some of them. So with this one, it makes sense if at the end of the day the learning outcomes are not up to expectation, because the key stakeholders who should have facilitated the processes to ensure you get expected learning outcomes are not there. But in a situation where they are there and the resources are available, yet we still have poor learning outcomes, this is where we dig deep to come out with the factors I was mentioning, like appropriate content, appropriate pedagogical strategies, learners being disciplined, teachers being continuous learners, and they are able to get updated materials for their learners, teachers collaborating, because knowledge does not reside in the head of only one individual. You should be ready to collaborate with others because they may know certain things that you do not know. My brother seated here is an assistant examiner. I am one as well. So we may be privy to certain updated information in the system at the expense of those who are not. And we don't keep them to ourselves, we share. But you have to also be forthcoming as teachers. Try to always contact colleagues. Oh, what is new in the system? There are a lot of new strategies, new learning resources that are just a click away from you. But if you are not proactive, if you are not innovative, you will continue to do things same way and you expect different results. So
Thank you. I want to add to uh, what you've been hammering on, teachers' availability. Teachers' availability. I want you to know that a teacher is a resource. So when we are talking of resources availability,
teacher is one.
teacher is also a resource.
All right.
So if you are providing resources and you are taking a teacher out of the equation, then you are not providing adequate resources. Because a resource should be utilized, just as my
Exactly.
brother rightly said. You have brought this phone, no one to use the phone. What becomes of the phone? The phone will be of no use. So the resources we are talking of, human resource is a key factor.
Yeah.
So in providing the resources, government should consciously provide human resource. For example, when you take uh, materials to a village and dump it there, the material cannot perform magic on its own.
Exactly.
Now, you made mention of a school that is well resourced without teachers.
Yeah.
it is not well resourced
Exactly.
because there's the teacher component that is lacking.
Exactly.
Now, if you are, let me use this, the government providing these resources, we often look at the schools, the number of students within the schools, then teacher student ratio in the school. Now, if the teachers are not there in the school, either you send teachers to the school or you relocate the school. If teachers are not there and you are pushing students to the school, you are more or less harming the students. You know, at the basic school level, the foundation of education is there.
Exactly.
If you are not able to put the foundation well, the building will never stand.
Very true.
So if the teachers are not there to give them solid foundation, I bet you don't expect any good results. When you go to the basic schools, most parents will love to send their children to a private school.
Private school.
Why do they send them to private schools? Because one, if I am a proprietor of a private institution, I would like to make name.
Exactly.
And one of the ways to make name so that I can get more people to attend my school is to ensure that the teachers are adequate. The learning materials are there. There's proper monitoring of what the teacher is delivering to the students. If all these things or all the structures are functional, good results. But when you
I think that's a good one, right? Service. Um, in the rural communities, in the rural schools, because they lack a lot of things. If you want to have a good name, you should be able to provide everything. You should be able to put the things in order. But here's the case: the rural learner lacks that.
you see, mostly I want to always use where I am coming from or where we are coming from
Yeah.
as example. A child at let's say P5 will have a girlfriend, a boy at P5 will have a girlfriend, or a girl at P4 will have even not one boyfriend, more than one boyfriend. And in the ninth, the parents are even supporting the child to go out and bring something home. Where do you want the child to go and bring? Now, at the end of the day, the child will not perform. I know of a parent, immediately after school, he will tell the daughter, take these things and send to the market and sell for me. The child will go to the market and maybe return home somewhere 6, 7. And when the child return, go to the kitchen, cook for the family. After cooking for the family, then there's a funeral at Kojo's house. The child goes to the Kojo's house funeral and may even sleep there. All these things, let's be sincere, in the rural setting, government need to consciously pay attention. Secondly, the parents, you see, let me tell you something. Parents in the rural communities feel that it is their right to engage the child to help them in the household chores and other.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But where your priority is there you pay attention to. Most of them, in a way, might not have benefited from education. Maybe the child, after completing junior high school, is not able to move ahead to senior high school. Maybe after junior high school, he goes to marry. And when they marry, they feel that If the child after junior high school is going into marriage, why waste my time struggling to let him or her get a good education so that he or she can move ahead? Let me use this example. I know of a parent who had 5 girls, and he told me that they are pressurizing him not to send the girls to school
Who is
because
pressurizing?
the community is pressurizing him not to send the girl
But
child
they
to
are his
school.
children, his choice.
Let me
So why
tell
would
you,
the pressure come from the sister, the community?
in the rural community, a child belongs to the community. So, as a community child, the parents, in one way or the other, also listen to the community voice.
Mm.
So, and they can give you examples within the community where a girl child after JHS becomes pregnant and it became school dropped out, and a lot of factors that are demotivating the parents. But this man I'm talking of, glory be to God, he refused what the community was saying, sent the 5 girls to school. The first daughter is a police officer, the second daughter is a nurse,
Mm.
the third is a teacher, the fourth is a nurse.
We are proud to hear that.
Now, the parents are taking are being cared of by the female girl child, and you see, we are often using him as a pointer to educate other parents who are not taking education serious.
Serious.
So I may pause here. Maybe my
Yeah.
brother has something to add to this.
Yeah, say what
Yes.
Didi right
Yeah. I think I have some few points to add to what I mentioned earlier that account for the poor learning outcomes.
Okay, sir.
When we are preparing the learners for assessment, a lot of techniques are expected to be employed. Earlier, I mentioned you giving the right content to your learners. It is very, very important. If you give the right content to the learners, it is also their responsibility to adequately prepare for any impending assessment, be it internal or external. If you don't prepare yourself adequately for these assessments, you don't expect to go and sleep and come, then boom, you get the results. No way. You need to prepare adequately. So inadequate preparations on the part of the learners can also be a factor accounting for the low learning outcomes we are experiencing in our schools. Apart from this, the learners also need to know the nitty-gritty of examination. Examination is not all about knowledge. You can be the most intelligent student in your school. You will be surprised you will come out with low learning outcomes just because of your inability to give appropriate responses during assessment. So it is very, very important for us to also prepare the learners in terms of how they are supposed to give appropriate responses when they are being assessed. It is not just about the knowledge, but how they handle questions during assessment is also very, very important. Then another important thing we should take note of as facilitators in our classrooms is also to repose high levels of confidence in our learners. You are seen as a role model by the learners. So if you lose confidence in your learners, it is a recipe for disaster because they are looking up to you. And you see, so many of us, or let me not say so many of us, I don't have any data to back it, but some of us, we do a lot of damage to the learners, and this goes a long way to affect the learning outcomes. This confidence I'm just talking about, there are some of us who feel the learners we have in our classrooms are just nothing. They cannot do anything. And the way the utterances we make about them.
Sorry, sir, I'm not cutting you.
Yeah.
Last year, just December 6th, I had an engagement at Nafandu Millennium Empowerment Network. It
Yeah.
was just youth. We
Yeah.
brought the senior high students together.
Yeah.
So when it was time for questions and answers, a student stood up and said, I want to ask something. Um, it was just about failure of teachers, motivation from teachers
Yeah.
to students.
Exactly.
So this student said, a teacher told him, in SHS,
Yeah.
a teacher told him that one day if I meet you and you are selling charcoal, don't mention my name. Don't act like you know me, else you will disgrace me.
Yeah. So this is the angle I'm coming from. If we lose confidence in our learners and we make certain remarks about their behaviors, their characters in terms of their academic performances in the classrooms, this can go a long way to affect the learning outcomes at the end of the day, because you have already programmed the mind of the learner that he or she is not capable. The one thing we should know is that our learners have unique abilities. There is a popular statement that is attributed to this famous scientist Albert Einstein,
Einstein.
that if you judge the ability of a fish to climb a tree, it will live the rest of its life thinking it is stupid. That is what is happening. You should have confidence in your learners. It is not just about the academics alone. Every learner has a unique potential. That if you condition the mind of the learner that he or she is not capable by making utterances like, as for this student, no matter what, you cannot pass.
Cannot pass.
You have already programmed the mind of the
You look
student
like this,
to
you look like
failure.
that.
Exactly. So this is going to have a great toll on the learner, because even when the learner picks a book to learn, that mindset that I am not capable can keep bothering him or her. And the
This
person,
particular guy I spoke about,
yeah,
when he said he shed tears and he was like, I don't want to be a chapel singer. So one of the guest speakers went and held his hand
yeah,
and motivated him
yeah,
and told him, do you know that you can even do better than me now? And the guy, yes, said,
yeah,
so don't cry. You can really do better.
exactly.
So a teacher going to the point of making a student shed tears
Yeah.
of what he's going to encounter.
Yeah. So irrespective of how the learners are performing in our classrooms, we still need to have this confidence in them that they are capable. If you give them the mindset of they are capable, you'll be shocked. And you see, some of us will look at the progress of students to be that if the student scored 1 mark today, the only way you can say the student has made a tremendous progress is to make 50 tomorrow. That is not the case. If a learner makes 1% today and the following day the learner is able to make 1.5%, it's a significant progress the learner has made. So it should be your responsibility to recognize the effort of that learner and continue to encourage him or her. You'll be surprised at the end of the day how the learning outcomes will look like. Let me just state this scenario I made during one of our stakeholders engagement. I just made this statement that no parent should subject a child to any traumatic situation when the child comes back from school with a zero in his or her book. These are the things some of our parents do. They beat kids for coming home with zeros. And it is even something as the teachers will have to also desist from doing. We are now living in an era that we shouldn't have zeros written in the books of our learners. When you are assessing them academically, there are certain other attributes that should come on board. At least there is nothing wrong with you to apportion just a mark for the person being present and doing the assessment. So at the end of the day, any individual who would have been entitled to zero would have gotten one because the person is in class and has taken part in the assessment. So if your ward comes back home with a zero and you are beating that child, you should know that they are in levels. You are struggling with the zero. That is why you are beating the child. There is another parent whose child will even come home with an empty book. The child would have refused even doing the assessment. So that is another level. So what do? So you should appreciate the fact that your child made an effort to even get the zero. So appreciate that zero. And it will make the child feel that, okay, oh, even with this I have been appreciated. That child will not go and sleep. There will be more effort to move from the zero to another mark. So we should try as much as possible to appreciate our learners and have confidence in them. It will go a long way to boost the learning outcomes.
Let me bring this typical example.
At
Yeah.
time, my producer is just on my head, so we need to be
Yeah.
summarizing.
Let me bring this example. In my school, we've been participating. Calpoin Senior High School.
Okay.
I already introduced.
Yes, I just wanted you to mention that again.
In my school, just last year, we participated in the National Science and Maths Quiz competition.
Okay.
At the regional level, we went for the first time to compete with the Islamic Senior High School, and they beat us.
Okay.
So when we came,
How many points do you get?
I'm coming.
Okay.
So when they beat us, in fact, the margin wasn't much anyway.
Okay.
So when they beat us, the children and the staff were demotivated. That evening, I was called by the producers that if I get an opportunity, will I let my students participate again? By then, I was alone. After they have given it to me, chastised me, and I was in my closet, in my office, thinking of what to do. I said, yes, I will participate. When I said that, my heart was beating because if I should participate again and I'm beaten. But I went and told my children, please sit up. Don't be demoralized.
We can do this.
I even went ahead to let my wife prepare some meal, some nice
To motivate
meat.
them.
And they ate. After it, I said, we are sitting down.
Yeah.
We sat somewhere around 10 and we closed somewhere 3. I went and slept. 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. We were just
You sat
going.
with them.
Yes, I was with them.
No other teacher.
No,
included.
alone.
You and the students.
And the students
How many
alone.
of them?
They were 4.
Okay.
So when we got around 3, I told them, go and sleep. Don't learn again. They slept up to 8 o'clock in the morning. Then we got there. When we got there, we were supposed to face Ganasco. Already Ganasco, there were 2 schools that were supposed to face Ganasco, and they refused to face Ganasco because Ganasco was the reigning champion for the region. But I told them that don't fear anybody. Be motivated. And truly, to our ways, we beat Ganasco
Ooh.
and qualified for the national.
And that time around, how many points? I knew you didn't want to mention the first one.
The point is not what I am driving at.
Okay.
What I'm trying to drive at is this. When you motivate a child, the child performs better.
So my teachers has to hear this.
When I
motivate
motivated them, they performed.
better.
Yes, and delivered the results to me. So when we were coming
So,
home,
sir, do you think they lacked motivation during the
it's a
first
fact.
contest?
Not that they lacked motivation, but when they were beaten, they were demoralized.
Demoralized. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
So because they were demoralized, I had to motivate them. And when I motivated them to participate the second time,
I
I
can do spirit
they are,
came.
yes,
Yeah.
they felt that they can do it. And when they sat down, with God being on our side, it wasn't that they were better than the Ghanaians. I must be sincere, they were not better than the Ghanaians. But the I can do spirit performed the magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, sir, we are
So,
just tying some of
okay.
the.
So just want to encourage all the stakeholders involved in education. We all know that the broader goal of education is to develop the learners holistically. Examination grades or the learning outcomes, they form a component of what education does. So our focus should not just entirely be on the grades our learners are getting at the expense of other attitudes, values, and characters we are supposed to develop in the learners. We should be working towards giving every learner the opportunity to unearth their unique potentials. That is why differentiated learning is very key in the moment in which we are. Do not classify any learner as nothing. Everybody has a unique potential beyond the grace. Let us do our work well by employing multifaceted approaches in our teaching and learning processes, conducting various forms of assessment and not just only based on the academics, and classifying some learners as incapable, weak students, and what have you. We shouldn't be labeling our learners like this. Let us give them the opportunity, let us give them the platform, let us support them, and I can tell you, every one of them has something to do in their schools and communities. I just want to end by citing a practical example of one of my students. Is because of time, I would have read his testimony with you.
Okay.
I don't just limit what I do to only the academics. I advise my students, examine yourself. If you have realized that this is a unique talent I have, make sure you nurture it. This gentleman testified to the fact that, but for my advice, he could have been roaming on the streets of Tamale today. But today he is a CEO of his own company and making a lot of money and impacting others in the society. Just because I used to tell them that beyond examination grace, there is life. Examination or the grace we obtain after assessment, they are not do and die affairs. There is life after assessment. So this gentleman paid heed to the advice, and he was able to nurture his God-given talent, and today he is a chief executive officer of his own company and making impact. So let us give our learners the platform. Everybody has a unique potential and they can do something. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
sir. I'm so
So let me also conclude by saying that we should not apportion blames to one sector in education. We should look at the problem holistically.
Yeah.
The teacher has a part to be
Yeah.
blamed, He has a part to play. The government have their part to play. The students have their part to play.
Yeah.
The parents have their part to play.
Exactly.
So when you go and you see that the outcome is not good, don't
just
be in
say-
a hurry to condemn the teacher,
Yeah.
because the teacher might be doing well,
Exactly.
but maybe the student is not doing well. The teacher and the student might be doing well, but maybe the available resources that is needed is not there. The parents might also be doing well, but maybe in one way or the other, things are not going on well. Some students, even to get a meal a day is a problem, and it may not be the fault of the parent. They are lacking. So please, my advice to all of us, those listening to us on wherever they are, my advice is that let's not be quick to judge.
Yeah.
Let's look at it holistically, diagnose the problem, and try to find amicable solution to this canker. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir. I really enjoyed the contribution, and I
Yeah.
hope you too. But I can't wait to have you again next
And we could make it next 2 weeks.
week. No, okay.
Yeah.
No
We
problem.
could make it next 2
I'll,
weeks.
I'll really be grateful because
But my father has to give the approval, so I'm
Okay.
listening.
I cannot say.
okay.
Let me be sincere with you. He just told me
And in fact, yeah, I have to comment
yesterday
it.
in
Yeah.
the evening.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of this program.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's an honor to
I
us.
didn't want to actually come. This
Yeah.
morning when you called me, whether I'll be come, I told you I won't come because I wasn't prepared.
Yeah. I told him he needn't prepare.
Yeah.
It's an experience we are going to
Uh,
share.
If only I'm available, I may show up.
Okay.
There's a likelihood I may travel.
But you'll come back, right?
Hmm.
You are not taking transfer out of Tamale.
I may travel for more than 2 weeks.
So I was thinking that you could be scheduling it after 2 weeks. That would be
No
fine.
problem.
Myself,
No problem.
yeah.
Yes. But thank you so much for
Okay.
the kind words. We are so
Yeah.
grateful here at
Thank
Talk here, and on behalf of the CEO,
Yeah.
we don't take this lightly.
Thank
It's
you.
a great privilege.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching us.
Yeah.
Your contributions, your suggestions are all welcome. And any question you have, you want to ask, put it right there. When our guests are back, they will digest all that for you. Thank you so much to our CEO. Thank you to the crew. We are so grateful for the time spent, the energy you put into it. Thank you so much. And I was your host, Gladys Vic. See you next week.
Teacher Mbaba, tu sais, on va pour
Society is shaped by decisions, and every decision deserves answers. From the corridors of power to the classroom, from the marketplace to the palace, and from politics to culture, nothing is above questioning. This is the hot seat where issues are confronted and voices are heard. Accountability also takes center stage. Real conversations with real people and real impact. I am Gladys Dubik, and welcome to the hot seat.
In the empty space, when will they come back to light up the place? Government's trying, NGOs too, but the gap remains. What are we to do? Education's the key, but who's holding the door? Rural schools are crying for a teacher and some more. Oh, the teachers are missing, the motivation's low. Rural schools are suffering, who's gonna know? Echolocation of home in the empty space.